Today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. They are a music distribution platform that officially allows you to release music onto platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and they are specifically geared towards independent artists and producers, much like myself. There are plenty of solid reasons to be going with them, which we'll be getting into later in the video. And if this is something that's within your interest, make sure to use this discount link here, which is also linked in the description. It helps this channel a lot. This needs a dust. You're gonna see throughout this video, it's almost hard to believe that all of the sounds are coming from the Digitone. As far as a rundown on how I'm using this MIDI controller, the PC12, first of all, it's way too big for the Digitone because all I need is 4 voices, right? So essentially I have 8 voices, which I'm virtually not using at all. And a quick rundown of how I have things routed here. This is something I've sort of touched on in previous videos, but in case you don't know, so I'm gonna hit play. These are mutes. Okay, so these are different tracks. The top row is for filter. The second row is for delay. And the third row is for reverb. This is a setup that I just think is awesome. The PC12 just completely eliminates menu diving within the Digitone, and that could be said about any hardware dawless instrument. As I'm getting more and more used to the PC12, I realized that I'm just not gonna go back. For any sort of dawless performance, I will be using a MIDI controller because it makes things a lot more musical. You have more control over everything. It really just takes everything to the next level, so highly recommend it. If a MIDI controller, maybe not the PC12 because it is very expensive, but maybe a more affordable MIDI controller, if it is in your budget, highly recommend it. The PC12 is maybe more useful if you're using multiple units. So like let's say the Digitact, 8 voices plus the Digitone, it would be perfect for that sort of thing. That being said, if you don't have a MIDI controller, everything that I'm mentioning today is still accessible through the Digitone standalone. As for the microcosm by Hologram Electronics, it's synced up to the Digitone, so it's tempo locked. And this is something that I just love showing people. I think it's so cool. Hit play. We're at 120 BPM. As you can see, it's tempo locked here. And as I turn up the tempo, it's just very tightly locked on there. Love that. Back down to 120. And just to show you the texture that we're getting from the microcosm. So this is with it off. Not too much of a difference when I turn it on. You just get these little artifacts. Yeah, it's quite subtle, but you're just getting these little rhythmic artifacts, which I find to be very organic sounding. Proper param locking is for me the next step for leveling up my Digitone tracks or any Elektron box track for that matter. So in the case of this drum track, this voice is selected as a kick. So if I was to bring the filter down to 0, that kick is gone. Everything else that's sounding or playing in this track is param locked. So it's just always gonna be there regardless of what effects I add to it. Right, so the delay is not happening, the reverb's not happening unless I turn that kick up. So how did I get those param locked drum samples here? It involves what's called a sound pool. If this is not something that you're familiar with, this is like a basic feature of the Digitone. There's more about it right there. But essentially any samples you decide to drop in from the sound pool will not be affected by the effects on that particular track. It is worth mentioning though, if I play around with my filter or any other effects, it does affect the param locked samples for like a split second. So essentially I'm using the filter as a mute for the kick, without, with, and if I want to mute all the drums, I could of course do that as well. So in this instance, this particular track becomes like a 2-in-1 voice, which at this point is pretty basic knowledge when it comes to the Digitone and Elektron boxes. But for me, it really was an aha moment to actually implement this in a performance. I have control over reverb and delay send parameters as well. So if I head over to my reverb page here and I turn this knob, so this is for decay. I believe this one's for low pass on the reverb, and this is for volume. So let's play with this. So now I'm blasting the reverb on this particular track. Let's give it tons of reverb, so lots of decay. And I can bring that back down. I can make it a darker reverb as well. And I have the exact same control over delay as well. So this is for delay, feedback. I don't want to give too much of this because that'll happen. Oh boy. And then here is the low pass on the delay and volume of the delay as well. If you're maybe willing to get a little bit more tedious, of course, you could do this on every single track. You could do it on a melodic track. So here, let me give you an example of this on track 2, which is for bass. I'm gonna solo that for now. Cool. If I head into my sound manager, which is right here, sound manager, now I could choose whatever I want. I'm gonna filter out, let's say, a lead sound. Let's hear these. Okay, I'm cool with that. Let's load that into the sound pool and let's just start programming notes. So these are my bass notes already. I'm gonna do this randomly. Ding, ding. Should be this last one. Copy that over. I could even program effects onto these as well. So head over to reverb. Let's put some delay on this specific note. Reverb on this note. Chorus on this note. So we're getting, mixing it up. With the drums. Okay, so what track are we on there? That's track 2. So I'm gonna mute this, or sorry, I'll bring down the, right? So the filter's at 0 and those are still playing. And so this is something that you could do on every single track. And although it's a lot to keep track of, all of a sudden you have 8 voices instead of 4. And on top of that, I haven't mentioned fill mode. You could go a step further with this, right? So let's say some of these notes that I just added in onto track 2, let's say these last 2 notes, let's bring that to fill. So now, those last 2 notes are not playing. Now they are. These 2. Ding dong. So there's some more variation right there. You could do that on every single track as well. If you are an independent artist or producer, DistroKid is just the #1 choice. And I'm not just saying that, I actually believe that. If you're interested in officially distributing your music to major streaming platforms, use this discount link. It's also linked in the description. If and only if you're interested, please use that link because it really does help this channel. $20 a year to release unlimited music to all major streaming platforms. $20. And the thing that really makes it useful for us independents is just how many free promotional tools that they offer at no extra charge. The first one being hyperfollow, which is a free link and bio link. You can claim as many pages as you'd like for free, and you could also use them for landing pages for your singles. I also like their promo cards, which I also use for every single one of my singles. They come in that vertical format that's just perfect for social media, maybe for your Instagram stories, TikTok, or any other platform. If you're looking to get into the streaming game, DistroKid virtually allows you instant access to become an affiliate Twitch member, which means you can start earning money right away from streaming. This is a few of many free tools that they offer, so it's kind of a no-brainer, 20 bucks a year. Make sure to use that discount if you are interested. Back to the video. Developing a set. With the Elektron box's latest update, there of course is song mode, which is ideal for a set. I've actually covered that extensively in this video here. But if you're looking for a more free and open way on developing a set, I would actually recommend the one idea or one track per pattern idea. I do admit that this may make transitions a little bit more difficult, but if you have like an external effects box, maybe the SP404, maybe the RMX 1000, the microcosm does help in these sort of situations. I know that these are expensive options, but basically anything, any sort of external effects that you could use would help for these sorts of transitions. With a Midi controller, you have the control to start with nothing. So let's say on pattern 5. Okay, so I have 4 tracks here. I'm just gonna set my effects levels. Okay, so maybe we could just start with this. And then maybe we could come out of it. Start just with drums in the next track. Oh boy. Right, so obviously you'd have to know your set. You'd have to kind of know where you're going. Maybe you'd have to rehearse it. Hopefully this was informative to you guys. This is all I have for you today. Thanks for being here. If you'd like to support, subscribe, or maybe even join this YouTube channel, consider using the purchase affiliate links for any of these instruments. I would make a small commission from that sale if you do end up buying. Doesn't cost you anything extra. Really do appreciate you guys being here and hope to see you soon.